Did you know a psychiatrist discovered humanity's greatest secret while trapped in a Nazi death camp? Viktor Frankl survived 4 concentration camps, but what he witnessed changed everything we know about human strength. The survivors weren't the biggest or strongest prisoners. They were the ones who found meaning in their pain. While others broke, these prisoners held on to something powerful, a reason to live, a purpose worth fighting for. Frankl helped fellow inmates by having them picture reuniting with loved ones, or finishing important work back home. He realized something profound. Between what happens to you and how you react, there's a space, a moment of choice. In that space lies your ultimate freedom, the power to choose your response. Even when everything is taken from you, this remains. Your attitude toward unavoidable suffering. This became his life's work, helping people find meaning in their darkest moments. Because here's the truth. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control what it means to you. And sometimes, that's the difference between breaking and becoming unbreakable. Did you know Napoleon's secret weapon wasn't his army, but his 4 a.m. ritual that struck fear into every enemy commander? While his opponents slept, Napoleon spent 3 hours every morning doing something extraordinary. He memorized every hill, river, and road across Europe. He studied battle histories like sacred texts. He calculated supply lines down to the last grain of wheat. His enemies called him a genius. But Napoleon knew the truth. I may not be the smartest, but I prepare harder than anyone else. He turned his short stature into an advantage, designing strategies that required quick, close communication. When facing armies twice his size, he'd study their commanders' past battles to predict their every move. But here's the lesson that changed everything for me. Napoleon's downfall came the moment he abandoned this ritual. During the Russian campaign, overconfidence replaced preparation. The Stoics taught that fortune favors the prepared mind. Napoleon proved it. Your natural talents matter less than your daily discipline. Your morning routine is your competitive advantage. While others sleep, you can be building the foundation for your empire. What will you prepare for tomorrow? Did you know Nikola Tesla could build entire machines in his mind and test them for weeks without touching a single piece of metal? While Edison burned through thousands of failed prototypes, Tesla would construct complex devices in his imagination. He'd run them mentally for weeks, then take them apart in his mind to check for wear. His photographic memory was so precise he could visualize rotating machinery down to the thousandth of an inch. When he finally built his mental inventions in the real world, they worked perfectly on the first try. Tesla developed this superpower as a child to escape his racing thoughts. Instead of fighting his obsessive mind, he channeled it into detailed visualization exercises. He'd spend months perfecting inventions in his head while walking through parks in Budapest. This mental workshop technique led to over 300 patents and inventions like alternating current that power our world today. Tesla's method proves something profound. Your imagination, when properly directed, is more powerful than endless trial and error. The mind that seems like your greatest obstacle might actually be your greatest tool. You just need to learn how to use it. Did you know the man who changed how we see life almost never made his greatest discovery? Charles Darwin was 22 when the captain of HMS Beagle invited him on a voyage around the world. His father called it a useless waste of time and forbade him to go. Only his uncle stepped in to change his father's mind by just one day before departure. That 5-year journey transformed everything. Darwin collected over 5,000 specimens and filled 1,750 pages of notes. But here's what made him extraordinary. He didn't rush to publish his findings like everyone else. Instead, he spent 23 more years quietly gathering evidence, testing his theory, building unshakable proof. The Stoics taught us that patience is not waiting. It's how you behave while you wait. Darwin understood this deeply. Revolutionary claims need revolutionary proof. While others chase quick fame with half-formed ideas, Darwin chose the harder path, the patient path. When he finally published on the origin of species, it changed the world forever. Your breakthrough might be one decision away, but the real work happens in the years that follow. Patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom in action. Thomas Edison didn't fail 10,000 times creating the light bulb. He discovered 10,000 ways that didn't work, and each failure brought him closer to the solution that would light up the world. While others saw setbacks, Edison saw data. He built the world's first research lab and set a rule. His team had to create a small invention every 10 days, a big one every 6 months. He kept detailed notes on every failed experiment, writing down exactly why each approach failed. Building a database of knowledge his competitors couldn't match. When people called him lucky, Edison revealed his secret. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. The Stoics taught us that obstacles become the way. Edison proved it. He turned every setback into a stepping stone, every failure into wisdom. His method was simple: systematic effort plus learning from every mistake. The result? Over 1,000 patents that changed the world. Your failures aren't stopping you, they're teaching you. The question isn't whether you'll face setbacks. The question is what you'll learn from them. Did you know Gandhi defeated the British Empire with a 24-day walk? In 1930, he faced the most powerful military force on Earth, but instead of fighting, he did something brilliant. He walked 240 miles to make salt. Salt. Something every Indian used daily. The genius wasn't the destination, it was the journey. Gandhi knew that walking would build momentum. Every step created media attention. Every village he passed through joined the cause. He trained his followers in one crucial skill: how to stay peaceful when violence came, because he knew it would come. The British were trapped. Arrest him and create a martyr, ignore him and look weak. When the cameras rolled on, the world saw peaceful protesters beaten by armed soldiers. 60,000 Indians broke salt laws that same day. Gandhi understood what the Stoics taught. You cannot control others. You can only control your response. He chose patience over anger, strategy over force, discipline over chaos. Sometimes the most powerful action is the one that looks like a weakness. True strength flows like water around obstacles. Did you know Aristotle didn't just teach Alexander the Great philosophy? He created a revolutionary learning method that built history's greatest conqueror. For 3 years in Macedonia, Aristotle threw out traditional classroom teaching. Instead, they dissected animals together to study biology. They analyzed military tactics through strategic games. They debated politics while examining different forms of government. But here's what made the difference. Aristotle gave Alexander a personally annotated copy of Homer's Iliad. Alexander kept that book under his pillow during every military campaign for the rest of his life. The philosopher taught one crucial lesson: true greatness requires mastering yourself before commanding others. Alexander applied this wisdom in a way that shocked the ancient world. Instead of destroying conquered peoples, he learned their languages, customs, and religions. He built bridges, not walls. This wasn't weakness, it was strategic brilliance. His empire endured for centuries because it was built on understanding, not just force. The lesson for us today is simple. Before you try to lead others, master yourself first. True power comes from connection, not control. Did you know Winston Churchill fought 2 wars at the same time? One against Nazi Germany and one against his own mind. Churchill called his repression the Black Dog. It followed him everywhere, whispering that he was worthless, that Britain would fall. But he discovered something powerful. Every morning, no matter how dark he felt, he wrote exactly 1,000 words. He painted watercolor landscapes to calm his racing thoughts. He built brick walls with his bare hands on his estate. He learned that creating something physical could fight mental destruction. When Britain faced impossible odds, Churchill used the same weapons against national despair. He gave citizens war work to keep their hands busy. He painted vivid pictures of victory in his speeches. He built hope one broadcast at a time. The discipline he developed fighting his private darkness became his template for leading a nation. Here's what Churchill understood that most people miss. The battles you fight alone prepare you for the battles that matter most. Your daily struggle against inner demons isn't weakness. It's training for the moment when everything depends on your strength. Did you know the most powerful philosophy of freedom came from a man who was literally a slave? Epictetus was born into Roman slavery. His master was one of Nero's guards who tortured him for fun by breaking his leg over and over again. But while his body was chained, his mind remained free. He discovered something that changed everything. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. His master could break his bones, but he could never break his spirit. From the darkest suffering came the brightest wisdom. Epictetus learned that true freedom has nothing to do with your circumstances. It comes from freeing your mind from trying to control what you cannot control. When he was finally released, he started a philosophy school. His teachings were so powerful they influenced Marcus Aurelius in modern therapy. Here's what he taught. External events cannot touch your inner peace unless you let them. The most enslaved person can have the freest mind, and your greatest struggles often become your greatest strengths. True liberty lives in your thoughts, not your situation.
Did you know the man who planned Pearl Harbor actually tried to prevent the war he knew Japan would lose? Admiral Yamamoto had studied at Harvard. He lived in America for years. He understood something his leaders refused to see. Japan might win early battles, but they would face certain defeat in a long war. When ordered to plan the attack anyway, Yamamoto did something remarkable. He prepared for victory while mentally accepting defeat. He told his colleagues Japan could run wild for 6 months, maybe a year. Then they would face impossible odds. This wasn't pessimism. This was wisdom. Yamamoto embodied a principle the Stoics understood deeply. True strength comes from preparing thoroughly while accepting what you cannot control. He knew America would respond with overwhelming force. He couldn't change that reality, but he could face it with honor. The highest form of strategic thinking isn't just planning for success. It's understanding the full consequences of your actions, even when you cannot change the course. Sometimes wisdom means doing your best work while accepting the outcome is beyond your control. That's real strength.